Mohammad Cyrous.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على الأنبياء والمرسلين أبو القاسم محمد وآل معصومين الطيبين الطاهرين. Dear brothers, dear sisters, dear distinguished guests, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today I would like to speak about the topic that was requested yesterday by someone that I think it's very important. Usually this topic is done on the 8th of Muharram, but I would like to do it today. As you can realize that I don't do that much masaib because I'm more focused on lectures. Inshallah, we'll try when we reach the day of Ashura to explain a little bit more with masaib, inshallah, in English. Also, there is a point yesterday that when I spoke about Salama, she's the wife of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. She is not the wife of Amir al-Mu'minin. Basically, if we speak about the historic point of view, we need to make sure that everything says with the great details. For today, the subject and the topic is something which is sometime too early for human beings and jinns, but it's never late. It is never late to think about this subject. And this is an obligation, a duty to apply for what we want to speak about today. And this is speaking about marriage and family value and how important is marriage according to Islam. Marriage is an institution. We cannot take this subject as something not very important. This is extremely important. Every one of us, if I'm speaking to the singles actually, every one of us needs to think seriously about that. This is crucial. Without marriage, of course, we are missing something. We are missing a big part in our life. And let's explain why it is important. We have many verses in the Quran speaking about marriage. This is one reason why. Well, in the Quran, first of all, it says that we created female and male in order to know each other and to establish nation and humankind. Even in animals, vegetation, anything, you see there is male and female. Looking at that, he built up a nation, he built up a society in the animal kingdom, in the human being kingdom, or in the jinn kingdom. It is all the same. However, for human being is a little bit more important than maybe any other subject speaking about that. Why? It's because when we want to understand properly what is the goal of creation, we can only understand if we are actually helping us to become a complete human being. And to become a complete human being is to marry and to have someone living with. This is simple as that. Marriage is half of our religion. Marriage is giving us tranquility, peace, and also helping us to have a stronger faith. There are people who are against this establishment. They are against the foundation of building a family. They might believe that to marry someone is too much responsibility. To have kids, it's too much because there are maybe some areas that there are so much children. We don't need to have more. This is totally wrong. And actually, when we look at how the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam married Hazrat Khadija salamullah alayha, this is amazing. Taking an example from her. Who went to propose the spouse to get married? This is Bibi Khadija. She went and proposed the Prophet. We have a model here. And when you look at of Imam Ali alayhi salam, Amir al-Mu'mineen, when he married Hazrat Fatimah al-Zahra salamullah alayha, he was about 20 to 25 years old. So this is one by one you see examples of everyone who's showing you how to get married and why to get married. However, we have traditions, we have cultures. Sometimes these traditions are too heavy for us to break these traditions and to follow what Islam taught us. Islam is not a culture. It's not a country, it's not a nationality, it's not an ethnic. Some people say, well, your religion is the religion of the Arabs. I will say, why would you say this is the religion of the Arabs? While you, and this person was Christian, while your prophet is more Arab than us. Then when you look at the Buddhist from China, Buddha wasn't Chinese, he was from India. And most of the prophets came from different areas or leaders, and the followers are not necessarily from the same country. But the main reason why the Prophet of Islam, such as many of other prophets, come from around the same region, is because these people are very difficult to deal with. And if the Prophet doesn't come from this area of the world, he will never accept Islam. But of course we have prophets from other parts of the world, such as Zaradusht or any other prophets that we cannot name them. And inshallah we'll have for lectures after Muharam, if I will be here, I will explain about the lives of prophets. But going back to the subject of marriage, I like to say that there is an hadith. I like sometimes more using the translation and saying in Arabic, but this hadith is very amazed that of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that it said about the people who are single how bad they are. He said, "Al-mutazawwaj noem afdal 'inda Allah min al-sa'im gha'im al-'azab." The one who is married, if he sleeps, he doesn't do anything, is much better in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala than a single person who prays and fasts every day, every night. This is as bad it is. So this is something that we have to learn from. We shouldn't wait to practice the sunnah of the Prophet. And if anyone who refuses to apply the sunnah of the Prophet is actually not a follower of the Prophet according to an hadith. All the prophets or all leaders around the world and across the history, they usually, when they want to speak about their missions, their work, their success, they usually praise their spouse. It's because of them. I can just give you an example which has nothing to do with Ma'sumin, is Mr. Churchill. When someone, a French, asked him, how did you become a very successful man? Everyone speak about you, you are in the history. He said, everything I have is due to my wife. She was the one who helped me and supported me when I needed. And you can see that even during the event of Karbala, the women, the role they had to stand and to spread the message of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. You can see even Hazrat Zainab, Salamullah alayha, how she stand and she sacrificed herself after the martyrdom of her brother. And she spoke in the court of Yazid and explaining exactly what happened. And actually that was a message for the whole humanity. That is why that the role of women is very important in the life of a human being, of a husband, and vice versa. It's not only one sense, it's both way. But usually people will ask me why we emphasize about marriage, but we don't know actually how to get married. Well, this is not a class of explaining how to get married, but by explaining of the teaching of the Ahlul Bayt, maybe we can take an example of how to practice this and follow this sunnah. The only thing that I would like to emphasize is an hadith clearly says that the one who died as a single and he had, just under parentheses, he had the opportunity to marry but refused, he will be raised at the day of judgment like an unbeliever. This is how bad it is. We have to take the opportunity as soon as we can to be able to marry. Sometimes situations, family conditions, or any other problems might occur and might postpone this sunnah. But sometimes it's just a question, a matter of misinterpretation due to cultures. And this type of culture will give hardship for someone who wants to practice this sunnah and this duty. And that is why that we have to understand that some culture are against the principle of Islam. I give you an example. I insist about culture and culture. I should give an example. In some cultures, which is more predominant in the subcontinental culture, marriage is only from a Sayyid family. They will give it only to Sayyid family, and non-Sayyid will not be able to marry Sayyid. Or in, for example, even in Iran or any Arab cultures, usually they married among the tribes. Well, we don't have tribes in Iran, but around the people from the same town, from the same social category, and they refuse to give their daughter to someone who comes from a different town, for example, because they consider their town or their region as better than the other town. And this is wrong. This is against the principle of Islam. This is discrimination. How can we believe to be a Shia and follower of the Ahlul Bayt when we put to ourselves limits? However, we have to raise one point which is important. Of course, we need to be selective, and we cannot accept any type of cultures or any type of educations inside our family. But we have to make sure that when we want to marry, everything comes first is, anything which comes first is the faith and the beliefs of the person, the taqwa, the faith, the iman. It's not his position or his education. Then it comes after the question of other points that we'll speak about that shortly. So, how to choose a prospective spouse? Well, before answering this, we have to make sure that in our fiqh, when we study the jurisprudence in Islam, we have to make sure that when it says that the age of taklif, or the puberty, is 13 years old, 9 years old, 15 years old, basically depends on the fiqh point of view. But let's see, we say it's 13 years old for, or 15 years old for a boy, and 9 years old for a girl, or 13 years old for a girl. It doesn't mean that at that time we can marry it, because there is sen taklif, the age of puberty, and sen rushd, which is the age of maturity. Someone might have maybe the sign of the puberty at 13 or 14 or 9, but the maturity is not there. They are not ready. So this is not proper to allow people to marry at this age. That is the reason that the Prophet Muhammad didn't marry any girl at that age. One of his wife, she was under the name of Aisha. She wasn't 9 or 6 whatsoever. She was 25 or 23, depends on the riwayah, and she was already divorced. This is a lie. Nobody married at 9 or 6. So we have to understand that Sen Rushd, the maturity age, is different from the puberty physical age, because the brain and psychologically, human being needs to have more time to develop his maturity. And that is why that we can say that one of the best time to marry is about 20 to 25, but there is no defined age of marriage. Especially in the society now, in this time, it is very difficult to marry early, like 18, because of the type of life we have. But the best will be about 20 to 25. However, as I said, if people cannot afford for any reason, if it's older than that, it's fine, as long as the aim of each day is to prepare our life for a time that we want to build a family. We shouldn't put this option behind. So how to find a spouse? Well, it is very common that many traditions use different ways. Some ways they say, well, we have basically in our family someone who will help us to find someone else in our own family. How Islam asks us to do? Well, it's very liberal how Islam is telling us to do. There is no proper way that Islam telling us to do. It's only emphasizing on faith, only emphasizing of marriage for the purpose of being closer to Allah. There is no way that Islam telling us that we have to pray, we have to marry such a way, this is the only way of the Sunnah, no way. However, for now, for the time we're living now, the best way is, of course, through Islamic centers, through mosque, through gathering, through family, if people knows anyone, or the youth, what they have tendency to do is to use Facebook and online services, which is not really proper for many reasons, because we don't really know who is behind. We don't really understand. And it's fine, it's no problem. Now, the service by the internet is something very common in our society. And it counts exactly like you have a connection with someone physically. So whatever you say online, it will count like you are actually speaking with that person. That is why we have to make sure that the parents make sure that the use of Facebook and online services or internet has to be used in a proper way. It shouldn't be used as something, well, it's fine because I'm behind the screen, it doesn't matter, I can say whatever I want. But it will count like you are actually saying it. And the day of a judgment, every of your messenger and your chat will come in front of you. Actually, I think Facebook keeps all the chats forever, so I think you don't need to wait for day of judgment to go back and read your chats. But just seriously, it is not proper to chat or to use the internet to intermingle with the opposite gender. It's not proper. I understand you don't see the person. I understand that it is just speaking behind screens, but actually it has to be taken very carefully. If you want to communicate through the internet, it has to be only on subjects of science, of Islamic studies, or any questions. Anything else which is too personal shouldn't be shared on the Facebook. I don't want to take too much time on that, but there is also something that I see the youth are doing. They're posting too much pictures of themselves. They're eating ice cream, they're having a sandwich, they're drinking. Subhanallah, what happened? They are doing more on Facebook on the real life. On the real life, they are in their bed, sitting down, watching TV on the internet. But when you look at the Facebook, they're doing more than what they are doing. No. Time is very, very valuable. You cannot waste your time online. I'm talking to the youth. Because the topic is marriage, we have to understand that when we want to marry, we have to take the responsibility to be a man or to be a woman now, before marriage. I heard some parents telling to their kids, inshallah you get married and then you're going to be a human being. They think that after marriage they're going to be educated. What kind of approach is it? Do you think that a boy that is not proper, that wants to get married with someone who raised in a good family, what disaster would be for the family? From the beginning, everything has to be prepared with maturity and taking the responsibility of being a man now. Because after marriage, things will get more complicated for everyone. Salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. When the marriage will be established, and when someone decide to have someone in mind and decide to marry, of course we need to verify who's that person. It can be from university, as I said, from Islamic center, from the parents, someone you know, and they have that person in mind. The minimum to do is to check up the person, to have how we can call the time of knowing each other. In the Western culture, we call it boyfriend, girlfriend. But this is not proper to use this word as a Muslim. We have to use this word, we have to use the word of fiancé or my spouse. So we have to know that the conception of aqd, or reading the marriage sentence formula, of making someone no mahram to mahram, aqd daim, nikah, we can do it early, even while knowing each other. What does it mean? To be more clear, some people said that, well, I prefer to live, with, or to know that person, but, that's just a friend, and we don't know each other, and we want to know each other. Then after a few years, or after a few months, a long month, they might say yes or might say no. I said, no, don't do it this way. As soon as you know both, according to the parents, to the elders, to the community, if the person, the potential spouse is a good person, we should, as soon as possible, read the formula for marriage. But it doesn't mean that both need to buy a house and to live fully independent. They can still live in their parents while they are preparing for their independency. This is what I try to explain. But the cultures, I know from my Iranian origin, this type of culture is not acceptable in this culture. They says, no, 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 no. First, the man needs to be settled down, to have his apartment, to have his car, and then we'll see if it's going to be suitable to read the aqd, on the formula of the marriage. But this is wrong. We don't know what happened meanwhile. And maybe they can change minds because they don't know each other, they don't live together. They can be mahram, but innocently, just to know each other, to go in university, to speak in a restaurant, to speak about what they like to do. Especially for people who know each other through Facebook or through friends or through parents. They don't know the person behind. They need some time to know the person and to see what is inside the heart of the person. Some people, they show, the Mataam of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. They are very religious, but when you go in their life, it's something else. They like to spend only their time to watch football. They don't care about Mataam of Imam Hussain. It was just to find a spouse. But I'm just exaggerating, actually. But I just wanted to say that we have to find a way, according to the urf and the culture as well, that we have to push and advance the marriage to be as soon as possible. The other point is, after marriage, what happened? Let's say someone married and then we understand that there are some problems. In this time, we know that in Islam we have rights of spouse. And inshallah tomorrow I will speak about the rights of children and the rights of parents as well on the chapter of the family value. But today I will just stop on the marriage. The rights of women and the rights of husband has to be respected. For example, I can give you some example. The rights of women on her husband is that he feeds her, clothes, and does not throw his face at her. This is a hadith from Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What does it mean? It means that the husband is obliged to do everything for his wife. He cannot make her sad at any price. Of course, following the Sharia, following the laws. It means that if she comes from a very prestigious family, and despite the fact the husband might come from a lower social background, he is obliged to provide clothes that is matching her social value and the social value of her in-laws. That is why sometimes when we want to marry different type of people, not from our social background, maybe from a highest or low, we have to do in a way that the wife, she is feeling that she is home. She doesn't feel any restrictions. And also, he needs to respect his wife at the same time respecting his mother. But who is the more important? The mother or the wife? This is a question I like to ask. Yes, the mother indeed. Mother are more important. But it doesn't mean that we have to tackle or to put away the spouse for the mother, but the mother, she's the priority at any case. And also now we have the right of husband. Of course, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the person with the greatest right over a woman is her husband, and the person with the greatest right over a man is his mother. This is the hadith. Again, going back to the mother. But of course, I don't want to say in this way, but the feminism and this type of culture is somehow close to Islam. But this tendency is too extreme that it becomes against the value of Islam. We need to reach the balance that I was explaining yesterday about how is the danger of extremism and to be away from moderation. But the moderation also applies on the right of husband and wife. Indeed, the husband has the right to be respected as a husband, first of all, and also he's the one who builds the house. He's the one who raised the family, despite the fact that the women has more responsibility, and the women are even needs to be very, very respected and very extreme, like this. I can use the word of extreme. In extremely, she needs to be respected. But now let's see that there are many complaints about bad character. It happened after marriage. Some people, the teenagers, they wanted to marry, and they realized that the person they married is not exactly the character they thought. And they might argue for nothing. They might, having a different taste of colors, clothing. This is not important. We should look at everything farther than that. Instead of wasting the time of arguing for food or for clothing or anything, we try to hand up the dispute and the argument really fast. And this is the role of the parents and the in-laws as well, sometimes, to cool down. We don't need to throw the responsibility to the other part. Oh, this is the fault of this one. We'll never hand up. And it will scare the youngest when they see their own older brother and sister who got married, and they see too much argue at home. They say, well, next is going to be me. I will be in Jahannam again. It's better to stay single. No, this is not the proper way. So we have to tolerate and I can tell you, prophets before Islam, they have bad spouse. I can give you an example of Pharaoh. Asiya, she was the wife of Pharaoh. She was a mu'min, but she was the wife of Pharaoh. Pharaoh, evil. But she just kept her way, and she did her way of pleasing and praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. She didn't need to argue, to say to Pharaoh, why you do this and why you do, etc. They hand up, closing their eyes. Sometimes it's better to closing their ears. And like I don't understand, or changing the subject, opening the windows, lighting the bukhur and candle, reciting the Quran, going for a walk and coming back I think it's the best way than just emphasizing and putting more and more, and anything we say will stay in the heart of the partner, maybe the wife or the husband, and it will stay for a day of judgment. Sometimes people say kufr while they are arguing together. Astaghfirullah. Because they just want to, it's arrogance. They just want to show, no, I'm better, and they want to ridiculize the person. And this is not the proper way. We have to show patience. We have a hadith said about the one for the wives who has husband who are maybe the bad character, and it's vice versa actually, but the hadith says she who patiently tolerates her husband's bad character will be rewarded, equivalent to the reward granted to Asiya bint Muzahim, the wife of Pharaoh. It means that the wives who handle the bad character of their husband, she will have many rewards as a patience. I think the kids are making noise. If you want to send salawat bar Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Indeed, human beings are changeable. The time change, and someone who has a bad character, who has a bad habit, he will change by the time, and both partner will change and be better, inshallah. At home, we have to have the atmosphere of an Husainiyah. Home has to be full of the verses of Quran. I don't mean by calligraphy on the walls, but at least to have the sound of the Quran in the morning, or feeling the Quran in our hearts, or reading together, having and respecting together. Sometimes in English is not the case, but in some languages we have the third in the plural to as a respectful way. Sometimes even husband and wife can use this type of respectful sentences to speak to each other. And I think what it is good to have always this type of distance and this type of limit between two people in order not to break the boundary of respect. And we grew up with the faith, we grew up with the Ahlul Bayt, and as the brother Niaz is explaining to us about the wilayat of Amir al-Mu'minin, is everything. And someone who has the wilayat of Amir al-Mu'minin, he will comprehend how to act and to behave with his spouse. We don't need to speak about that. It will come automatically. And I would like really briefly to come back to the story that yesterday I was explaining. And I just beg your pardon, I don't do masaib usually. This is not the way I am doing, but inshallah I will try soon, inshallah, as a gift before I leave Scotland, inshallah. So yesterday we were speaking about before the uprising, and we'll continue little by little until Shab Ashura, inshallah. So I want to break the conventional way of doing lectures. But can anyone here explain to us what did I say about the history, the beginning of history of before the battle of Karbala? Can anyone is able to sum up?
Imam Hussain alayhi salam was called to the Walid bin Uqba, the governor of Medina, for the bay'ah.
Yeah. Ahsantum. We were on the point that Yazid came in power, that we all know that Yazid has a very bad character. He's a drunkard. He doesn't follow the Sharia. He only likes the power. And like any other dictatorship, they like to have a type of approval by having ba'ya or oath of allegiance from spiritual leader, especially at the time of the Ma'sumin, having the oath of allegiance from Imam Hussain, which has a lot of meaning for the Ummah. So he invited Imam Hussain alayhi salam through his governor to speak about Bay'ah. And Imam Hussain went to speak with Walid ibn Atbah, and they had almost starting a fight inside the palace of the governor. And Imam Hussain understood that at that time it's the end of the peaceful life in Medina. Medina has a lot of meaning. This is a city of the Ahlul Bayt. This is amazing. I was in Chicago in a Sunni mosque, and someone came to me, knew I was Shia, and he was telling me, oh, you. He doesn't tell me brother, telling me you. He doesn't consider me as his brother. I told him, yes. He said, you're following the Persians, the Iranians. The Ahlul Bayt, they are all Iranians. I said, actually, I want to tell you something. Our leaders are from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They are neither Arabs nor Persians, but if you want to see the historical point of view, they are from the blood of Rasulullah. However, your leaders are Majus and Persians. I can tell you it's very easy to find out. Abu Huraira, Muslim, Bukhari, they couldn't even speak properly Arabic. And this is the leaders of the one who told me, hey, you, instead of telling me, brother, Salaam alaikum. This is how I can tell you that we are proud to follow the pure religion of the Ahlul Bayt. And this religion is universal. It doesn't have any color. And preaching only peace and tolerance and love around the world. It's light, because the Ahlul Bayt are light. When you want to recognize someone who is a Shia, you will see his light from his heart, and his face is full of light. Comparing to someone who claim even to be a Muslim or whatever, any religion, you don't see this light. That is why when you have someone who cries from Imam Hussain alayhi salam, you will see and your heart will melt and have mercy towards that person. You cannot just be harsh with someone like that, because your heart is with the Ahlul Bayt. This is how the lover of the Ahlul Bayt are. Even someone Ahlul Kitab, or brothers and sisters from the Christians and the Jews and other religions, they are our brothers and sisters. They just need to know about Abi Abdullah al-Hussein. Isa alayhi salam, Jesus sacrificed his life for the message of love and peace. And Imam Hussain sacrificed his head for the message of peace. And you can understand that the message of Isa alayhi salam was an action by Imam Hussain alayhi salam. Just to continue what happened after that Imam Hussain left Medina for Mecca. He went to Mecca, and as you understand, this is the time that he needs to meditate, and he knows he has a long journey to do. But before going to Mecca, he slept all night inside the grave of his grandfather, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He cried, and he put his head on the grave of the Prophet. And he was meditating, I was explaining yesterday, I'll repeat again today. And he saw a vision, he saw the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He saw his family speaking to him. And he said, Wallahi, I wish to come in the grave now. And the Prophet told him that this is not time to come and join me now. You will need to go through martyrdom. You will need to be shaheed. There is a prize. There is a prize before reaching this. And when he came back, spoke, it's like his mother Salama, the wife of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, she was very worried because this is exactly what her husband told her. That is why they gave her the soil. And he says, if the soul from Karbala turns red, it means my grandson will martyr. And she was worried, don't go, stay here. But he left with a small amount of people in the caravan going towards Sham to speak with Yazid and these thirds of evil, worse than animals, only seeking the power and politics. So that was the time that Imam Hussain alayhi salam started to communicate and to spread the message of his duty. This is the time that now he is speaking about the message of Amr bil Ma'ruf wa Nahy anil Munkar, of spreading the message of the Prophet, his grandfather. The Islam has been deviated by so-called leaders just to defend their own Islam and interest. And the letters that has been sent through different tribes and people, he got many replies by many people. Even from Basra, he had replies from three different tribes that they were there to say, yes, we are ready, we can help you. Many people from Kufa as well replied. They says, yes, we're supporting you. But Sayyid al-Shuhada didn't reply to anyone. Because he knew to who he's speaking with. Actually, the duty is just to write messages, to teach people the truth of the message. He didn't really want to get reply from them, but he got many replies from everyone. And he replied only one letter. And this letter I would like to read. That's actually a nice message to understand. Salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Muslim ibn Aqil, the one who transmits the letter, when he wrote the letter, he was explaining in general about Islam. He was explaining about the duty and remembering our duty as the follower of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this message of the letter, the content is a little bit long, so I will not read the content, inshallah. I think you want to. This content of the letter, inshallah, if we have the opportunity to read it, is very powerful. And you understand that exactly what was the intention of Sayyid al-Shuhada. Because there were so many slanders and rumors saying that, oh yes, Hussain ibn Ali alayhi salam is going to Sham to take the place of Yazid, and so many rumors, and he had to explain exactly what he wanted, his intention for his spread of message. And even some people, for example, one is the nephew of Aisha, Ubaydullah ibn Zubayr, or Abdullah ibn Abbas, came to tell him, don't go there, stay here, we don't need you to go. And he tried to convince him, because himself he knew it, that the numbers of people following him is very little. Nobody will follow. It's just a symbol, a message for today. For now, after 1,400, we're still commemorating these matches, we're spreading this match around the world. Even someone from Detroit were saying, and they were not Muslim, they were saying, how beautiful is this message? Who is the name of the person? Explain, this is Hussain ibn Ali, and he's the grandson of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And they were saying, this is the message of your religion? This is amazing. But your religion is nothing but only peace and asking people to love each other and to build families and to following the right path and to be tolerant. And we will say yes. But there is a price to be a Shia, to be follower of Imam Hussain. And this price is to understand that we are mazloom. We can't really do anything. But the only thing we can do is to spread the message of the Prophet's grandson. And this is the best reward we can do. So, the speech, I will read just a couple sentences of the speech of Sayyid al-Shuhada before he leaves and continues his journey towards Sham. If you're not tired, Salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. The death is a certainty for mankind, just like the trace of necklace on the neck of young girls. And I am enamored of my ancestors, like eagerness of Yaqub to Yusuf alayhi salam. Everyone who is going to devote his blood for our sake and is prepared to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala must depart with us. And this is the last message that clearly said, you following us, and inshallah you will prove that you are sincerely following the path of the Ahlul Bayt and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So what happened? Imam Hussain alayhi salam went to Safa. That's 14 destination, and I will summarize it in a way that inshallah before Ashura everything has been briefly explained. Safa was the first place after Mecca that the Prophet with 72 of his companions and family went. And in Safa, that's one city going towards Sham. He stayed overnight. And over there, he met one famous poet called Farazdaq. Is Abu Firaz or Abu Faraz Hammam. And this poet came from Iraq. And he wanted to go through for the Hajj. And when they met each other, Imam Hussain had the opportunity to ask him, how is Kufa? And Farazdaq, the poet, explained that the heart of the Kufian are with you. However, the sword are against you. Imam Hussain alayhi salam knew it. He knows these people. At the time of Amir al-Mu'mineen, they show themselves how they acted. And this is how bad is the hypocrites, or bad are the cowards. If you like bottle, be a man. Say, yes, I like bottle. I like the wrong and the evil. But be a man to say, yes, I like it. Don't play. Show something you are not. But if you like the haqq, you have to show it from your heart, not only your tongue or the physical appearance or the outfit. So, this is how Imam Hussain replied that Allah replied when Farazdaq told him about how Kufian are. Imam Hussain alayhi salam replied, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does what he wishes. I leave it to him who proposes the just cause. So this is the time that Imam Hussain, inshallah tomorrow, I will continue for the second place after Safa. That is when he, after the meeting, he left with his family and some of the companions for a second place. Inshallah, we'll speak about that next time. Sallallahu alayka ya Abu Abdullah. Sallallahu alayka عليكم يا أهل البيت نبوة. May Allah's blessing and peace be upon you. My beloved Holy Prophet, my beloved Imam, my beloved Lady Fatima Zahra, may Allah's peace and blessing be upon you. May Allah's peace and blessing be upon you, my beloved Imam Hussain alayhi salam. All the angels and jinns are loving you, are crying for you. All the humankind are loving and crying for you. Ya Sayyid al-Shuhada, Sallallahu alayka ya Abu Abdullah, Sallallahu alayka ayyuhal madlum, Sallallahu alayka ayyuhal shaheed bil Karbala Atshan. Ya Imam Hussain, tonight is the night of Ruqayyah. It's the night of Fatima bint al-Hussain. She was staying home. She wanted to go in the caravan and to follow her dad. But Imam Hussain alayhi salam was telling her, you have to stay home. You cannot come, my dear daughter. You're a child now. With her eyes, she was crying, my father, I want to come with you. He said, no, no, my daughter, no, Fatima. You stay home. And Imam Hussain alayhi salam, she was waiting for him. She was waiting days and nights after him. She opened the door, she was looking at the windows. She couldn't find her dad. She said, Yo, my father, where are you? And she was expecting the only news she had from her dad, that was the dead body and the beheaded. And she said she couldn't believe, she was staying waiting for him, waiting for him. Sallallahu alayka ya Abu Abdullah, Ya Hujjat ibn al-Hassan, Ya Sahib al-Zaman. Can you see what happened to Sayyid al-Shuhada? Can you see what happened to the Shia of Amir al-Mu'mineen? Imam Hussain alayhi salam, he was beheaded by evil. And Fatima bint Hussain, she's only crying and still expecting her father coming back. For a man who died with the dry lips, and everyone, all the companions, everyone who has been killed, they were thirsty. And Fatima bint Hussain was thirsty as well, waiting for her father, for her family. But she was orphan, waiting. The jinns, the angels, everyone cried. They cried blood. They cried and waiting. Subhanallah. Salaam ala al-Hussain wa ala Ali ibn al-Hussain وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآل محمد. الله
محمد وعلى محمد صلوات.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
وعلى ديگر صلوات.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim Maliki Yawmiddin As-salatu wassalamu ala Rasulullah wa ala Ahl Bayt at-Tayyibin at-Tahirin al-Ma'sumin al-Mazlumin Salawat Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa la'natullah ala a'da'ihim malawnin ajma'in min yawmin hadha ila yawmiddin amma ba'd faqad qala Allah Tabaruk wa ta'ala fi kalamih al-Majid Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim Ya ayyuhar Rasul balligh ma unzila ilayka min rabbik illam taf'al fama ballaghta risalah salawat bar Muhammad Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad غدیر کے میدان میں جو اعلان ولایت ہوا اس خطبے میں جناب رسول خدا نے جو ارشاد فرمایا من کنت مولا فہذا علی مولا اس کے بعد کے خطبے میں 11 ائمہ کا بھی ذکر کیا اور امام زمانہ علیہ السلام کا ذکر کرتے ہوئے انہیں خاتم الائمہ کا خطاب دیا یعنی جیسے کہا کہ میں خاتم الانبیاء ہوں ایسے 12واں خاتم الائمہ ہے اور یہ جو ولایت ہے یہ سبب بنا کہ باقی دنیا دشمن بنی اور آج تک شیعہ مظلوم بنے ہوئے ہیں اور ہر علاقے میں ہم دیکھتے ہیں کہ خصوصاً شیعوں پہ بہت ظلم ہوتا ہے آج وجہ صرف ولایت ہے آج ولایت سے ہاتھ اٹھا لیں سارے دوست ہیں اور یہی ان لوگوں کو بھی پتہ ہے کہ ہم جتنا ظلم کرتے ہیں جتنا شیعوں کو قتل کرتے ہیں اتنی شیعت بڑھتی ہے اور اس کی وجہ ولایت ہے اور ہم بھی کہتے ہیں ہمیں مرنے سے غم نہیں ہمیں لاشیں اٹھانے سے غم نہیں لیکن ہماری جو زندگی ہے وہ ولایت ہے اور اسی لیے جب ہمارا جنازہ ہوتا ہے اب یہ ایک اہم مسئلہ ہے کہ کئی لوگ یہ آج کا نہیں اس دور میں بھی پوچھتے تھے اب بھی یہ سوال ہوتا ہے کہ جب کبھی جنازہ ہوتا ہے تو ہم یہ دل میں خیال کرتے ہیں کیوں کہ جب آخری نماز جنازہ کی دعا پڑھتے ہیں نا کہ اے اللہ یہ تیرا عبد ہے تیری کنیز کا بیٹا ہے اور ہم نہیں جانتے اس کے متعلق لا نعلم منہ الا خیرہ یعنی ہم نہیں جانتے سوائے اس کے کہ خیر اس کے لیے اب کئی لوگ کہتے ہیں کہ بھائی بظاہر یہ گنہگار تھا ہم کیسے نماز میں کھڑے ہو کے کہیں کہ ہم کچھ نہیں جانتے سوائے خیر کے یہ جملہ ہم پڑھتے ہیں یہی نماز جنازہ میں آخری جو دعا پڑھتے ہیں ہر میت پہ ہم پڑھتے ہیں تو یہی سوال امام معصوم سے کیا گیا کہ مولا فلاں شخص ایسا گنہگار تھا ہمیں پتہ ہے ہم کیسے نماز میں کھڑے ہو کے اللہ کے سامنے یہ کہیں کہ ہم اس کے متعلق کچھ نہیں جانتے سوائے خیر کے تو امام نے کہا تم کیا سمجھتے ہو کہ یہ کس چیز کی گواہی تم سے لی جاتی ہے اس کے کردار کی نہیں یہ وہی حی علی خیر العمل والی گواہی ہے کہ غدیر والی گواہی ہے ولایت والی گواہی ہے کہ ہم یہ گواہی دیتے ہیں کہ ہم نہیں جانتے سوائے اس کے کہ یہ ولایت ہے علی ابن ابی طالب پر تو یہ ہم گواہی دیتے ہیں یہ نہیں دیتے یہ گنہگار تھا ہم کیسے کہیں نہیں تم سے یہ نہیں پوچھا جاتا تم سے یہی پوچھا جاتا ہے کہ یہ گواہی دو کہ یہ جو شخص گزر گیا ہے یہ ولایت علی پہ گزر گیا ہے تو یہ ولایت کی اہمیت ہے اور آخر ولایت اتنی اہم بنی کیوں آپ دیکھیں जो भी आप काम शुरू करें, छोटे पैमाने पे हो या बड़े पैमाने पर हो, अगर आप उसको आप करके छोड़ दें तो कोई गारंटी नहीं कि वो बचेगा, साबित रहेगा। और ऐसा हुआ कि अंबिया अलैहिस्सलातु वस्सलाम जब कोई पैगाम लाए तो उनके बाद उनकी उम्मत ने उनमें तहरीफ कर दी, उनको बिगाड़ दिया। और यही वजह थी, एक नबी के बाद दूसरा नबी, दूसरे नबी के बाद तीसरा नबी आता गया। लेकिन चूंकि हुजूर खत्मी मर्तबत आखिरी नबी थे, इसके लिए नबूवत तो खत्म थी। तो अब विलायत थी जो शुरू हो रही थी, और विलायत का मकसद ये था कि दीन जो तबलीग दीन की गई उसको महफूज किया जाए। इसीलिए कहा गया इल्लम तफल, अगर तूने ये काम नहीं किया फमा बल्लगत रिसालत, क्योंकि अगर तू ऐसा दीन छोड़ के चले जाएगा तो वो जो ताक में बैठे हुए हैं, जो पहले ही कहते हैं कि ये करने दो अबतर है, उसका तो कोई है ही नहीं। जब तक है चलते रहो, और उसके बाद इसका कोई नहीं है, उसका कोई औलाद नहीं है। जब विलायत का ऐलान हो गया तो हो गया ना कि आज काफिर मायूस हो गया, आज काफिर मायूस हो गया। क्योंकि उनको पता लग गया कि अपना वारस छोड़ के जा रहा है जो दीन की हिफाजत करे। तो इसीलिए हिफाजत हर चीज, खुसूसन आप नमाज में, ये जो 12 आइमा की विलायत का ऐलान हुआ गदीर के मौके पर, इसीलिए नमाज में जब हम नमाज को खत्म कर दें तशहद में, तो यही है। इमाम शाफी ने भी ये कहा था ना कि ऐ अहल बैत, आपकी शान में इसके सिवा और क्या कहें कि अगर तुम पे नमाज में सलवात ना पढ़ी जाए तो उसकी नमाज कबूल ही नहीं। यानी ये विलायत अहल बैत की है, 12 आइमा मासूमीन की विलायत का ऐलान है सलवात। इसीलिए जब हम तशहद में पढ़ते हैं तशहद अशहदु अल्ला इलाहा इल्लल्लाह व अशहदु अन्ना मुहम्मद रसूलुल्लाह, उसके बाद फौरन कहते हैं अल्लाहुम्मा सल्लि अला मुहम्मद व आले मुहम्मद। और नमाज की अहमियत भी है, क्योंकि जब अमीर अलैहिस्सलाम इस दुनिया में आए और पहला खुतबा कहे, क्योंकि उस वक्त अभी कुरान नाज़िल नहीं हुआ था, तो जब हुजूर ने अपने हाथों पे उठाया तो कहा अली सुनाओ, कहा कि ज़बूर सुनाओ, इंजील सुनाओ, कुरान सुनाओ, कहा कि कुरान सुनाओ। तो अमीर अलैहिस्सलाम मशहूर है, और कोई यानी जो रिवायतें हैं वो यही हैं कि मौला ने सूरह मोमिनीन की शुरू की, 10 आयतें तिलावत की, क़द अफ़लल मोमिनून, यानी फलाह है मोमिनून के लिए, यानी मोमिन जो ईमानदार हैं उनके लिए फलाह है। और उसके बाद जो कहा जो नमाज खुशू खुजू से पढ़ते हैं, जो अपने जो फरूज हैं उनकी हिफाजत करते हैं, जिसको हम प्राइवेट पार्ट्स करते हैं, सिवाय ये कि वो शादी कर लें, वरना बाकी हिफाजत करते हैं। और लग़वियात से मुंह मोड़ते हैं, लग़वियात से मुंह मोड़ते हैं। वो लग़वियात क्या, जब मौसूल से पूछा गया मौला लग़व क्या है, तो 3 चीजें बताई, किज़्ब, ग़ीबत, ग़िना। इनसे मुंह मोड़ता है, जब भी देखता है कि यहाँ झूठ बोला जा रहा है मुंह फेर लेता है मोमिन। जब देखता है ग़ीबत हो रही है मोमिन वहां से चला जाता है, मुंह फेर लेता है। जब देखा यहाँ पे ग़िना हो रहा है मोमिन मुंह फेर लेता है। और कहा वो मोमिन जो वायदा वफा करता है, और वो मोमिन जो अमानतों की हिफाजत करता है, और वो मोमिन जो अपनी नमाजों की हिफाजत करता है। कितनी अहम है। और आखिर में कहा यही हैं जो जन्नत के वारिस हैं। तो ये चंद आयतें अमीर अलैहिस्सलाम ने तिलावत की, और आते यही बताया, पहले भी खुशखबरी दी, आखिर भी खुशखबरी दी, बीच में जो उनकी जिम्मेदारी बताए। वो मोमिन सिर्फ वो ईमान वाली बात नहीं है, अंदर में बीच में सारा अमल है जो, और खुसूसन नमाज की अहमियत को उजागर किया। पहले भी कहा जो तवज्जो से खुशू से नमाज पढ़ते हैं, और आखिरी ये 9वीं आयत में इरशाद फरमाया कि जो अपनी नमाजों की हिफाजत करते हैं। इसीलिए करबला भी नमाज का ही दर्स है। आप देखते हैं ना कि इमाम हुसैन अलैहिस्सलाम ने आशूर के दिन भी अपने बेटे शहजादे अली अकबर को कहा कि बेटा अजान दे दे, ताकि रहती दुनिया तक जो मोमिन आए ना तो वो याद रखें कि अली अकबर ने कहा था हय्या अलस सलात, हय्या अलस सलात। तो वो दौड़ता चला आए तो उसको याद रहे कि अली अकबर ने अजान दी थी। और ऐसे ही नमाज की अहमियत आप समझें, शाम गरीबा में भी यही हुआ। जब शाम गरीबा को पानी मिला तो सैयदानों ने पहला काम यही किया कि मगरिब की नमाज पढ़ी। और यहीं तक नमाज की अहमियत खत्म नहीं होती। इमाम ज़ैनुल आबिदीन अलैहिस्सलाम की ये गवाही कि जब करबला से कूफा, कूफा से शाम की मंजिलें तय हो रही थी, बीबियों के गर्दन हाथ पसे गर्दन बंधे हुए थे, तो चलते हुए ऊँटों पर भी बीबियों ने नमाज को कज़ा नहीं किया। ये नमाज की अहमियत है। और यहाँ तक भी नहीं, जनाबे ज़ैनबे कुबरा को जब कैद खाने में बैठे हुए नमाज पढ़ते हुए देखा तो पूछा, पुफी अम्मा आज आप नमाज बैठ के पढ़ रही हैं? कहा कि बेटा जो भी खाना मिलता है वो इतना कम होता है कि बच्चों में मैं तकसीम कर देती हूँ, और इस वजह से मेरे जिस्म में कमजोरी आई रही है, तो इसलिए मैं बैठ के नमाज पढ़ रही हूँ, लेकिन पढ़ रही हूँ। और क्यों ना पढ़े? जिसने उस अम्मा को देखा था जब दरवाजा गिरा था ना और पसलियां टूटी हुई थी, तो जब नमाज का वक्त होता था तो बीबी टेक दे के दीवारों को एक हाथ दीवार पे रखती, एक हाथ टूटी हुई पसलियों पे रखती और चलते हुए मुसल्ले पर पहुंचती। इस माहौल में जनाब ज़ैनब ने कुबरा ने ये नमाज का अम्मा को पढ़ते हुए देखा। तो यही जब दोपहर आशूरा की हुई तो समामा देख के कहता है, मौला लगता है कि ज़ुहर का वक्त हो रहा है। जब मौला ने देखा तो मौला ने कहा कि अल्लाह तुझे नमाजी में शामिल करे, तूने नमाज को याद दिलाया। और नमाज जब शुरू हुई तो एक बूढ़ा सहाबी सईद बिन जुबैर, जिसकी उम्र 80 साल की है, आगे बढ़ता है, कहता है मौला मैं इस काबिल नहीं हूं कि मैं जिहाद कर सकूं, इस काबिल नहीं हूं कि तलवार को पकड़ सकूं, क्योंकि मेरे हाथों में रेशा है और न तीर उठा सकता हूं। अब मौका है, मुझे इजाजत दें, जब आप नमाज पढ़ रहे हो तो मैं आपकी नमाज के आगे सफर बन जाऊं। तो मौला ने उसको इजाजत दी कि जा सईद। इधर मौला ने नमाज शुरू की, इधर सईद जो है वो देख रहा है कि दुश्मन के तीर आ रहे हैं। जब तीर आ रहा है तो ये सीना आगे देता है, अपने सीने पे तीर लेता है, इधर से तीर आता है अपने सीने पे लेता है। इतने तक जब तक इमाम हुसैन ने नमाज को खत्म किया। इधर मौला ने कहा अस्सलाम वालेकुम व रहमतुल्लाहि व बरकातहू, अल्लाहु अकबर, अल्लाहु अकबर, अल्लाहु अकबर। सईद ने भी कहा अस्सलाम वालेकुम या अबा अब्दुल्ला, और मौला के सामने गोद में आके गिर गए। जब मौला ने उसको संभाला और उसने आंखें खोली तो एक जुमला कहा सईद ने, कहा हल वफी तो मौला, क्या मौला मैंने क्या वफा कर दी? जो मैंने वायदा किया था मैंने पूरा किया। तो मैं ये कह दूं ना कि वो था ना गदीर में भी, तो अपनी जुबान में कहूं वो कह रहा था कि मौला मैंने जो गदीर में वायदा किया था विलायत का वो पूरा कर दिया। तो इमाम ने कहा कि ऐ सईद, तूने वायदा पूरा किया और तू जब जन्नत में जाएगा ना तो तू मुझसे मेरे आगे जाएगा, तू आगे जाएगा, मैं तेरे पीछे जन्नत में जाऊंगा। और इतने में सईद ने कहा मौला मैं महसूस कर रहा हूं कि मेरे सराहने कोई शख्सियत आई हुई है, और ऐसा महसूस हो रहा है कि मुझे अफाका मिल रहा है। कहा कि सईद तू सलाम कर, मेरा नाना तुझे लेने आया है। फिर कहा कि मौला मैं महसूस कर रहा हूँ कि मेरे बाजू को कोई दबा रहा है और मुझे सुकून मिल रहा है। कहा कि शहीद सलाम कर, अदब से मेरा बाबा अली तुझे लेने आया है। और इतने में कहा कि मौला मैं महसूस कर रहा हूँ कि मेरे ऊपर कोई हवा झूल रहा है। कहा कि शहीद तू अदब से सलाम कर, मेरा भाई हसन तुझे लेने आया है। और इतने में सईद ने घबरा कर कहा मौला को मैं महसूस कर रहा हूँ कोई शख्सियत मेरे पाइंदी तरफ जो है ना आके बैठ गई है। तो कहता है, मौला कहता है सईद अपने पाँव से बैठ ले, ये मेरी माँ ज़हरा है जो तुझे लेने आई है। लानतुल्लाह अलैहि या अल्लाह बिहक़ मोहम्मद व आले मोहम्मद बिहक़ शुहदाए करबला। हाज़रीन गायबरीन मोमिन मोमिनात की सगीरा और कबीरा गुनाह माफ़ फरमा, उनकी जो हाजात हैं पूरी फरमा, उनके इनमें से जो बीमार हैं और उनके जो अजीज़ अकारब जो बीमार हैं, जो भी मोमिन मोमिनात जहाँ पर हैं बीमार हैं, उनको सबको शिफाए कामिला अता फरमा। बिहक़ मोहम्मद व आले मोहम्मद इनके रोज़गार के ज़रियों की हिफाजत फरमा। बिहक़ मोहम्मद व आले मोहम्मद इनकी परेशानियों को दूर फरमा। बिहक़ मोहम्मद व आले मोहम्मद कायम आले मोहम्मद का जल्द ज़हूर फरमा। मातम हुसैन।
Ya Hussein,